Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me today in the studio is CJ Gibson.
What's up?
Stev Root.
Hey, Guardians.
Back.
And me, your host, Destin Legary.
That was your Fran impression.
Yeah.
All right, needs work.
Good to have you here, Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the leaked rumor thing that's coming from Reddit about Destiny 3. Apparently, there's some details from a semi-reliable source who's been right about some stuff. Anyway, we're going to talk about the quality of life change, and we're going to take a look back at Forsaken. It's been a while since launch. We're going to talk about our favorite things. Let's get right into it. So, don't forget, you can watch first on IGN, and then one day later on youtube.com/fireteamchat. We launch every Friday at 5 on IGN, then one day later, Saturday at 5 p.m., youtube.com/fireteamchat. So, the first story is all about Destiny 3, you guys. Anon the 9 is saying that it takes place on Europa, that there's going to be a PvPvE mode that's not like the Division, that the Guardians can use the darkness. Development is starting right now. Chris Barrett is the game director. Luke Smith is still there in a big role, and they're going balls out with the RPG stuff. So that's what's going around on Reddit.
Rumor.
Okay. We have to label it rumor because it's some guy on Reddit.
Yeah.
But apparently people are saying he's been right about a few things. I wasn't able to verify what he's been right about yet. So what are we thinking about this? What's your temperature?
So
you in the red, you in the cold, you in the middle?
I mean, so here's the thing. I think that I remember something like this before when we were talking about Rise of Iron.
Yeah.
And then Rise of Iron came out. So, I mean, it feels odd that would be happening so soon. Mm-hmm. I don't personally believe that it's, real. I believe that there's obviously maybe some merit to these people being involved, and obviously there's a Destiny or Destiny 3 coming, but yeah, to know the details about it this soon, I don't think so.
Yeah. So like if we look back at like the original game trailer, File 1, Andres, we can actually see the original concept of what Destiny was supposed to be, and I collected some assets here to kind of take us through up to Destiny 2 and what the game ended up becoming. What do we think about these mechanics? Like, what do you like the idea of being able to choose darkness or light as your power, Steven? And like, what would be your take on a PvP VE mode where you could fight for territory and grief other players?
It sounds really interesting. It also says that they are going balls out with the RPG stuff. And before Destiny 1 first came out, I always thought it would be like that. I thought it'd be really heavily PvE focused. Mm-hmm. And it turned out like it wasn't really PvE focused, but I'm hoping they take Forsaken, they amplify it, and they just make like an amped up version of Forsaken, because Forsaken's awesome.
Yeah.
I've always wanted Destiny 3 to kind of be like, did you guys ever play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes, I did actually.
Yeah.
So the first one, you're a character, you're Revan, which is like this big Sith Lord, and you can choose if you're good or bad.
Yeah.
But in the second one, the sequel, you play as a different character and you hear like tidbits of Revan and what you did in the first game. And I've always kind of thought it would be interesting if we were like a different Guardian in Destiny 3 and we'd hear about like our Guardian now and like the crazy triumphs that we've done. And like, I don't know. I thought that'd be cool.
So basically what we're doing today is we're going to play along. We're going to assume that this rumor is founded. And just so you know, like, we're not saying that this is true or anything, so we're just going to kind of go with the conversation that's going on right now. I really like the idea of being able to choose darkness or light. Really happy to hear that Christopher Barrett is game director and that Luke Smith is still has a big role at the company.
Yeah.
You know, two long-standing faces there. But if we look back at this Destiny 1 footage, the main focus was the darkness in all the promotional materials. And I feel like we got pretty far away from that, and they brought it back by the time we got to Forsaken. But yeah, man. And we never saw Europa. It was sort of hinted about in some of the stuff, but it would have been great to see more of Europa.
Yeah,
I think one of the maps are on Europa. Maybe.
Is it? I don't know. But I know there's a lot of concept art for it. And if you look back, all the concept art that was shown off has always been in the game later on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but way back early in Destiny 1, there were concept arts of the Titan using a shield, the Dawn Blade, and they were like, oh cool, it's like concepts that never made the game, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Eventually they did. I want those frogs, the big frogmen
Yeah, the big
that you
frogs,
can ride.
the wolf or the tiger.
The tigers
yeah,
just
the
sitting
tiger.
next to
Man,
the,
like,
the
I actually did
planets
a
there.
great interview with Christopher Barrett about like the stuff that they had to sacrifice, and they're like, we leaned a little bit too much into fantasy, is what he said, and they kind of had to get rid of some of that super early stuff. But yeah, you're right. They were able to revisit and see, hey, like let's get that shield in there. Oh, there. Remember Aldrin?
Aldrin, yeah.
Like that
Aldrin.
scene never takes place in the game.
Yeah, it's crazy
Yeah.
to see all this stuff because I mean, when you look at how small the Nova Bomb
Yeah,
is.
the Nova Bomb's
fast
like
it went.
Yeah,
nothing.
I know. I actually remember I was actually at I think it was E3, probably 2015, no, 14. I can't remember now which was the one where they played through the first part there. I was with Fran actually.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy to be in the audience and see that just before Destiny 1 was released because yeah, when you look back at pre-alpha footage and
Captured that demo 3 times.
I was
They let me
wondering.
capture it.
Yeah.
And they had it down to a T. There were slight variations in each demo, so they were playing live.
Yeah.
But man, it was pretty.
Well, yeah,
on
like
point.
it was, but it didn't. It's funny when you look back at what Destiny 1 became. There was a lot of things. I think there was even like more than like 6 to 8 people in a public event. It almost seemed like you could, all just magically show up and kill this walker. Like there's things that obviously made it to the game, but then there was other things that didn't or evolved over time. But that's pretty natural, I think, in game development. And it's it's weird. It's weird looking back at all these moments because you do get like crazy memories, nostalgia moments from Destiny 1.
Huge nostalgia.
Yeah. And it wasn't that long ago. Like it's only like 3 or 4 years, but I mean, there was just a lot of hype like leading up to this game.
So with this stuff in mind, going balls out with the RPG stuff, and
How many times are we gonna say that?
I want to get at least 3 in. I want to get
All
3
right,
in.
just checking.
Bad phrasing. Anyway,
Oh, what?
yeah. So there's that, and he also went on to say, I don't have the quote here, but he did say that they know that this is gonna like scare off the
like,
casuals,
more casual
and
leaning.
they're not really worried about it. And look at what happened with Forsaken, right? Forsaken might be scary to casuals.
Yeah.
But look how many people are playing Destiny again because there's interesting things happening. I actually misspoke last week. I said not a lot is going on. Yes, there was a lot of
That's true.
stuff going on. It was like the busiest week ever. Meatball was in the game, and all these things were
I
happening.
got him. I got the meatball.
And CJ got him. I didn't have time to play because I was finishing Red Dead Redemption 2. I finished the whole campaign. That's why
look
I've
at
been
me.
in,
I see,
in Red
I
Dead
see.
land. Well, I can't wait for everybody to get to play that game because I know a lot of people want to check it out.
No meatball yet, though.
I haven't had time to play.
So how many Gambit matches have you ran? Because we were talking about because Fran.
We looked. It was like 97.
Okay.
Fran ran 3.
And Fran ran 3 exactly. So I think I looked at how many primevals I had, and it's like 80 to 100. So I probably ran maybe 40 to 50 matches. So it's interesting to see how many different sort of variations there are to people's games. And you played 100 and something, didn't you, to get it?
I think I played 103 or something.
Yeah.
We had a really solid team though, and we would go on long streaks.
CJ was solo though.
Good.
Yeah, I actually
Solo, dude.
I did.
You got it solo?
It was funny. I hit a photo of the teammates, and it was crazy. Yeah, I went in. I didn't know them, and dude, that moment when he spawns, I was in my bedroom, and my wife was in the living room, and I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Sorry. And I got all giddy, and I was like, oh dear God, teammates don't suck now. And the 17 kills is what I ended up having. To actually do it. So there was a combination of me invading and 2 other people taking him down. But that is an exciting moment. That's one of those things where when it happens, you're like, it's a mix of, okay, this is rare. It's a coveted weapon. I want to get it. And yeah, that was probably one of my craziest moments so far with Destiny.
Let's reel it back in to this topic at hand. The Destiny 3 rumor. What besides this stuff does sound cool. What is something that absolutely needs to remain intact besides the gunplay? I think we can all agree the gunplay is pretty solid. What's something that needs to be added or something that needs to remain, if you guys can think of that? For me, I'll tell you that I want to see those fleshed out RPG mechanics. I want to see guns that sort of evolve. I really like the Solstice of Heroes, which we have a clip of.
Yeah.
The Solstice of Heroes armor evolution was one of the coolest mechanics that I've seen Destiny do in a while. So really, really like that. And I would love to see more of that in Destiny. Like, what if you started with tattered armor and you built it up and you became super powerful? And there were many different gear sets that just looked really, really cool and well designed. That's what I would like to see fleshed out a little more. Do one of you guys have a prepared answer?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'm wondering, and I'm interested to see what you guys think. I've had this comment about PUBG and Fortnite and all these other games that are out right now, and I think Destiny's biggest challenge, obviously, is that it is constantly in a state where it's trying to to appease multiple audiences, different type of people. Would you want Destiny to be a PvE only game and forego PvP, traditional PvP?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either, like for me personally, but it's amazing when you actually look at all the different people and what they want. There's always this sense that there's a PvE crowd and a PvE crowd.
PvE and PvP.
Or PvE and PvP crowd, yeah. And they don't really kind of want to play nice together, or they think that, the thing that I want is most important. And I think that's really difficult for them to, I always say that for balancing the game is tough. So I'm curious if we put that survey out there, what would people want? Like, I don't know if people would want an exclusively PvE game, but if you listen to comments...
What are you saying you want?
I'm saying... So that's what's weird, is that I personally like PvP better, but I don't know if you could make Destiny exclusively a PvE game.
Simple question. Why not both? What's the problem with having both?
So right now, I think the issue with having both is how do you constantly balance or make a game that is exclusive that people feel like they can grind into and get into what that game is.
So do you feel they've done a poor job of that, especially with the current update?
I don't think they've done a poor job. I think that they
Putting you
can
on the hot seat.
No, I think that they've done exactly what they can do, and that's it. Like, I think if you look at like Fortnite and PUBG and anything that's PvP focused only, there's just like Fortnite is doing amazing things within the context of that space, but they don't really have to deal with any of these other problems that Bungie has. So I'm curious.
I think if they were to do it separately, CJ, it would lose the magic of getting those weapons in the wild that are good in good in PvP versus PvE.
So I think so as well. Like, and to me, that's what's special about Destiny. But imagine if that Destiny had potentially a PvP focused only mode, and it was exclusive to what that is, and it had nothing to do with grinding for PvE.
You mean like Halo?
Yes, yes, but you take all the elements, so maybe there is a Destiny 3, but it actually splits, those facets of the game, and they have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
I absolutely hate that idea.
No, I
Thank
know.
you, CJ.
That's fine.
Steven, what's your thing that the game needs?
Well, the game needs... Well, can I chime in on what CJ said?
So, we do have to move on to the next topic.
So,
and I want you to have your chance.
I think Forsaken, it's a pretty good blend right now. I think what happened in Destiny 1 is people wanted it to be a competitive esport, and like
they are not moving in that direction.
I think once people realize that this game is not an esport, it's not competitive. There are things that are always gonna be broken. Like right now, there's too many shotguns, etc., and there's exotics. I think once people realize that it's not going to be that, and they just embrace it for what it is, which I have done, because
me too.
Personally, in D1, I wish it was, I like really wanted it to be an esport.
Yeah.
I realized in D2 it's not going to happen. There's no custom games. There's no spectator mode.
But
there's
that
things
was
broken.
That was the weird thing about Destiny 2 year one, the way it launched. You thought that potentially
I gotta
it
cut
was
you
going
guys
to be
off.
that.
You're going on a whole different topic.
No, I know,
PvE
but
versus PvP. I really want to wrap up the segment about what you want from Destiny 3.
What I want in
and then we
Destiny
can
3.
What do you
revisit.
want?
We can revisit this.
What do you
topic.
want?
What I want in Destiny 3 is I want them to take Forsaken and expand it. I want hundreds of weapons, hundreds of armor sets. I don't want reskins. I want them to really dive into the PvE part of the game. And we're going to talk about this later when we talk about what's our favorite part in Forsaken. But I really want them to just dive balls deep into the PvE section.
That sounds great. Anyway, we're going to move on. Seeing these guys have already started the conversation of our next topic a little bit ahead of time, we're going to go right into the Forsaken launch and what we've been enjoying about it. CJ brought up this hypothesis of splitting PvE and PvP, and these two are in a discussion about why that would or would not work. So, guys, continue. You were talking about it. I had to cut you off because we need to get the breakout for the show.
Okay.
So, yeah,
All right.
I'm like, all right, we're 13 minutes in. I need to get that breakout.
That's fine.
Wrap.
Yeah, okay.
But
sorry.
I'm sorry about that. So please continue with your conversation and tell us what you like the most about Forsaken right now.
So it's weird. I mean, I think that a lot of I like the way Bungie is addressing and fixing everything very quickly that needs to be addressed. They did not do that in year one, and it almost was like a coy kind of way where it's like, we're listening, and then like the changes would not happen, or the changes were very minor. This is perfect. They are addressing everything from masterwork cores, changing them to enhancement cores, spider bounties, all the rest of that stuff. There's a bunch of different things that they're doing where if you have problems in the context of the game, what are you guys laughing
You're
at?
going wherever you want with the show plan.
What do you- yeah,
We're
but-
talking about topic 3.
That's what I'm saying. I like the fact that they're addressing all these things quickly and you're not constantly waiting for them to, because you were constantly looking at updates going, oh, when is it going to happen? But so right now, I love the gunplay in PvE. I like, the exotics not being super attainable, but they're addressing like how those work as well too. I play a lot of PvP, and I like the chase right now for power. Like I'm still not at 600. I'm around like 590, but that's been good for the last month and a half as well too. So.
Yeah, I'm just fine being at 590. If I had more time to play, I would play more Destiny. There's just too many games right now.
Yeah,
splitting your attention is difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good things right now. Like I think I agree with Steven. Like I think Forsaken is in a great place, and I find myself, like I said, logging on daily or every couple days to just do regular bounties, getting the Ikora bounty to do like 20 of them, and I'm doing a lot of the different triumphs to actually just play and get emblems and badges and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I mean, I dig that.
They had an awesome cadence for like 6, maybe I'll even go as far as 7. It's 8. Steven, you said 8 weeks since launch.
Yeah.
Right. And man, they have just had constantly. They have constantly added things for you to do and play in Destiny 2, and this is great.
Yeah.
This is how Destiny used to be.
Yep.
They kind of got back to the heart of what's interesting about the property, and I hope they continue with that, like you said.
Yeah, when you say it wasn't a busy week last week, I think what you were really talking, because I saw
There wasn't
so
a
much coming.
new thing.
It wasn't something new. Exactly. There was,
It was a
first
revisit.
week, it was like Festival Lost. There was lots of stuff to do, but there was nothing maybe that wasn't necessarily like a brand new thing.
Yeah.
But besides Festival Lost, but still really good. They've been doing well.
Yeah. So, Steven, the question is, what's your favorite thing about Forsaken since launch?
Okay. We're just not talking about the PvP and PvE thing, huh?
CJ, I threw him the ball, and he's like, "Nah, I'm going to talk about something else now."
I never know where this is, where I'm allowed to go.
Here, I'll just finish
go
that.
back
I'll just
if
finish
you'd
that.
like.
There's a marriage between PvP and PvE in Destiny,
Yeah.
where you can get random rolls that are better in PvE or are better in PvP.
Yeah.
You can do that with armor too, and I think that is a huge drawing in Destiny. What people love about it, I'm gonna use a hand cannon in PvP, so I'm gonna try to get hand cannon gauntlets, and armor and stuff like that. So speccing for that is really cool. If you did separate the two, like you were talking about, and it would just be like Halo, like every assault rifle is gonna be the same, every hand cannon is gonna be the same, every sniper is gonna be the same, and then I think you'd have to neuter the classes too. Like the classes are so different and they're so unbalanced.
Yeah.
Like 4 Titans might have an advantage over 400s or whatever like that. If you're going to separate the two, you'd have to make everyone the exact same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if the Destiny community is like that anymore.
I mean, I'm not saying I would want that, but when I read the comment section, I'm saying that I see a lot of people say, I don't care about PvE or I don't care about PvP.
Yeah, it's
And
one
there's-
or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other, and there's this constant struggle, which is the reason why a lot of people do like Gambit. I think that there was maybe some more competitive rewards.
But
and some
yeah,
trials.
but I think that's
But it's the same problem Call of Duty faces, right? And
Yeah.
they just
Yeah.
they got rid of the campaign.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big separation between Destiny because you're not talking about getting rid of the campaign. You're talking about separating 2 modes.
Yes.
And Call of Duty has zombies in there, which would basically be your PvE.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty has Blackout, which is your
multiplayer.
PvP, your high-end competitive stuff, as well as their other competitive modes.
I think it's a good combination. I don't think they should ever separate it. But to moving on, what my favorite part of Forsaken is
Yeah.
I love how lore heavy it is. We've never had
3.
we've never had so much lore intertwined into the story. Like you could run around and find Grimoire and Ghosts and you can go on Bungie.net and read it, but now it's in the game.
Yeah.
And not only is it in the game for reading, I won't spoil the Malfeasance quest, but there's a part in the Malfeasance quest where you do this mission and they talk about the past and they've never done something like that before.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
Andres, play the third
Okay.
file.
So Malfeasance, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. I haven't done the quest.
I won't spoil it, but it's so lore intensive. Even with the whole Kara and Riven, they really talk about all these lore things that I feel like they haven't done at all up until Forsaken. Last week when the curse was the strongest, if you enter whatever Marasov's throne world,
Yeah.
you can see the pyramid ships
Yeah.
in there.
That was a
And
really
the
cool
pyramid
setup.
ships
That's
at the
cool.
end of
At the end of the campaign, for those that don't know, the
Yeah.
pyramid ships are like the last thing you see coming towards Earth.
The
And
light,
Mara,
Yeah.
Mara apparently has been tracking them, and they're on the way.
Yeah, she's tracking him. Like, she doesn't even talk about it. And if you think about it, our guardian would have no idea what the hell that is, because only us as the player saw that in the cutscene, right? So
Yeah.
only she knows about it, and it's like they tie into like all these lore things, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the weird thing, and that's the other conversation, though, is that how many people get a chance to experience those things? I mean, right now, I haven't gotten the malfeasance. This guy doesn't. There are a lot of things like that sometimes don't, come into play if you don't grind for
But
those.
to like piggyback off that, you have to be a pretty, I don't like saying the word hardcore, but you have to be a
Committed.
pretty big fan of Destiny to realize that. Like, if you were just playing through it and somehow you did go into the throne world, like, you wouldn't know like what that was.
Yeah.
Or you wouldn't catch up onto it. And that for that Destiny 3 rumor, what did it say? They're gonna like, it's gonna
Darkness
be
versus
Into the
light.
darkness.
well, it's gonna be. You said it's gonna be like super hardcore, right? I want that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that stuff.
Yeah,
if it is true.
I'd love if they leaned more into that. The final topic that we were going to talk about, we touched on it a little bit, thanks CJ, was the the quality
You're
of life
welcome.
changes, which is file 2 for our producer in the back. The quality of life changes, which we're
calling
going back to.
everybody out today. Dear God.
Well, we jumped around and never mind. Quality of life changes. So a lot of stuff is changing in Destiny, and the most important piece of this is that exotics are being adjusted. So it means that you're going to get fewer duplicate exotics. And here's what they said. It takes into account all exotics found and weighs them against exotics you have yet to acquire. This lowers the chances of receiving exotics you already own. Those you do not own will be individually weighed higher. When getting exotic dupes, you will be more likely to get armor pieces as they have random rolls. So like the exotics have random rolls. That's really interesting for dupes. And exotic quest weapons are being removed from the exotic engram loot pool. So that's really, really interesting.
So random rolls for exotics?
yeah.
Armor.
Armor, right?
armor.
And that was the same with the glass needles in Destiny. There was some kind of like
You can
function.
re-roll
You could
it.
re-roll them in Destiny 1.
Yeah, there's a few exotics being tuned. Wish Ender's getting increased base damage. Malfeasance is getting increased explosive shadow detonation damage. Do you remember the trailer versus the
Yeah.
the in game? Like literally nothing happens.
I'm sorry, Malfeasance is terrible.
Yeah. I'm glad you got it. I'll get it once it's buffed.
Test it out.
Glad I played 100 Gambit matches for it.
Yeah.
Ace of Spades.
Oh,
is the
I think they
weapon.
show it in this trailer. I don't know if we missed it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up after this, actually.
Yeah.
It's one
So
of the final
we'll
ones.
see it in just a second if you're watching. the
Ace of
video
Spades
version.
is the hand cannon. I mean, right there. If you're using any other hand cannon right now,
PvP,
I mean, even in PvE, it's pretty solid. Like, it's hard to use anything else. It's just the range, the damage, and the impact. Like, there's so many like good perks that proc when you're crushing it. So I've not actually gotten the Contra weapon, as they've dubbed it.
the AR.
No, is it the 3-round that shoots 3? I can't even remember what it's called.
The
assault
Cerberus.
rifle.
Cerberus.
Yeah, it's an auto.
Yeah, do you have it or no?
Yeah, I have.
Or auto rifle. I have it
yeah.
too. I really like it actually for Gambit. It's great for ad clears.
Okay.
But I usually swap it out because I want a different exotic.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah. But I was having a lot of fun with it messing around. So this is just great. I just want to kind of keep people informed about the quality of life changes.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So all in all,
That's, I mean, here's the thing. We have 8 more minutes left. Do you have any other topics? Because I got one that we can now talk about since Fran Mirabella's not here.
oh, the raid.
The raid.
We can actually talk about the raid without spoiling it.
Dear
Six
God,
weeks
Fran,
later.
if you're out there, just turn off the show, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about, Siege?
I mean, really, we haven't got a chance to even dive into the mechanics and what we thought of the actual progression of it or anything like that.
Let's just start at the end with Riven.
Yeah.
Well, the main big encounter, there's Riven,
Sure.
and then there's the orb carry at the very end. So spoiler warning to anybody who has not completed the raid, Fran, and wants to wait a little bit. But I think everybody's at the point where they can attempt it now.
Yes.
Blind or otherwise. Like,
Yep.
you got to do some coordination to attempt it that way.
Yep.
But I really, really like the Riven encounter.
Yeah.
I like that it forces everybody to play a part.
Yes.
Unless you do the glitch where you shoot all the rockets into his mouth.
Yeah.
But even that's sort of fun too, right?
Yeah.
Like finding out something like that is really, really interesting.
Yeah. You did it
Yeah.
week 1. What were some of your biggest challenges at like 540 or 560 light versus now? Because you've probably played it a few times since. Like, what was the hardest part when you were playing it, going for like the world's first thing?
Yeah, you had to play really carefully because like anything could kill you.
Right.
You basically had 2 hits. Some of our guys had one hit, maybe 1.5.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's all that they had at their disposal.
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah, man, it was just about team coordination and we're all tired. We all got to like shoot certain eyes and figuring out the mechanics. Figuring out the mechanics blind is actually a really, really fun thing to do. And
it was pretty hard. Like, did you guys actually get into a situation where you were stream sniping other people, where you were looking at what they were doing to get an advantage about?
we got
what
to
was
a
happening?
we got to a point where like 2 teams have gotten past the vault.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what they had done. Like nobody understood it.
Vault was difficult. I will
Like
say,
Daddle said he like accidentally got past it. So it was difficult
like
for us.
Vault, they didn't really know what was
Yeah.
happening.
So some of the guys on the team were trying to stream snipe, but the info was just not there.
Right.
So we weren't able to, and we ended up figuring out Vault ourselves. It was Illegal Knot and Teddy's brother.
Yeah,
Charge,
I would
yeah.
say I think Vault was probably the most difficult like puzzle encounter that I can ever remember in Destiny. Like a number, penumbra, left, right. Like there was so many things that when you're talking about people, like, oh, what happened? What's on your side? I remember running around in circles trying to see everybody's different plates to see what were the corresponding logos and trying to like decipher something. It didn't make sense. And even now, it's still a little difficult to go through and figure out what's happening.
It's so awesome to see that my numbering for the eyes ended up being the widely adopted numbering system for the eyeballs.
So I wasn't sure if that was the case, because the weird thing is if it was you or whoever it was, I don't like it because I want it to go left to right.
Yeah.
I want it to go L1, L2 on the top.
But everyone goes
rather than this. It's really odd because
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is how I went, and
Yeah.
then 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
The right side's fine. The left side should go 1, 2, 3 4, 5.
Yeah, you can do it however you want.
No, but you can't now because that's what's mostly out there, and that's kind of what people say.
I'll take credit for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there was
okay.
there was a like I remember Grenader Jake did this crazy thing where they did like the top row and then the middle row, and I'm like, no, the eyes are too like googly.
Yeah.
Googly eyed.
But it is
do that.
it was cool though to those first we're going to talk about Riven for a second, to jump up there, not know what's happening, then you go behind the little like glass part, you see all these logos. It's super overwhelming, and like the dragon calling
up-
kills
Even when you
Coming out with the call out.
even
Yeah.
when you drop down for the first time and you see Riven.
yeah.
So we were talking
crazy.
about last week in
My reaction
Fireteam
was
chat.
like, what?
Yes, I think is that probably one of the coolest boss reveal moments besides Oryx. I think Oryx and that one are both pretty cool.
Oryx is still the coolest. That's pretty cool too, though.
Yeah.
Riven. I like larger than life enemies.
Ignore that.
I don't know what that was. I like larger than life enemies
Yeah.
that you get to encounter. And
Yeah.
Oryx is like just hard to top, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying there's
I
a
think
spark
Riven-
when you run out there.
Yeah.
Like you freak people
I would
out.
troll people.
Yeah.
I think Riven was cooler than Oryx because you knew what Oryx looked like.
That's true. There's some merit to that. I don't think that you realized how big he was in the final encounter.
Yeah.
So
So when
that
you
was
drop
really
down
cool.
and you're like, what the hell? It's a dragon.
Yeah.
What is
It's a
that? It's got like
lizard.
gross scabs.
That was on the
bet
back,
we shoot 'em
which you
later.
shoot later,
Yeah.
and you're just like, what is happening?
So I'm gonna say a super popular opinion that I know I'm gonna get flamed.
Unpopular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's unpopular.
All right.
A lot of people are like, oh, I think it's stupid that it's damage gated or light level gated. Because remember, you had to get to 40, right?
Yeah.
535, 540 to like even stay
that.
alive.
We were
with
in the
raid.
40 to 50 range, and we were able to complete it.
Yeah. And
I think we were in the 50s when
yeah.
we beat it.
And I believe like most of the people were like, this is so stupid. We didn't have enough time to get to that.
Did you watch the show with Fran on it?
Yeah, I did. But I think that's what a raid should be. You should the first time you do it, you should be under leveled.
Yeah.
Should be super challenging the first time
Yeah,
you do it.
the grind itself to get to that point should be fun and challenging. And then when you first start the raid, everyone's super under leveled. Ads will kill you.
Yeah.
So on top of finding out what is going on in the mechanics, you have to stay alive and play your life and kill things together, right? So that's what makes that's what makes the raid hard. And people, you can argue it's artificially hard.
Yeah.
But that, like, to me, that's how they have to do it, because now everyone's like 590 to 600. The ads won't kill you. You just have to do the mechanics now.
Yeah.
You can do a raid in like 30, 40 minutes.
But people are still struggling with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, that's
And
a
it's
good thing.
like,
But like
well,
now, like
yeah.
I can do like the first raid took what, 23 hours, right?
Yeah,
Now,
20.
now you can do it in 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that's how a raid should be. The first couple of experiences you have with it should be super hard.
Yeah.
And then you should be doing it just for the drops, right?
I mean, I think so too. Like, I get Fran's point. Like, Fran's point was like the communication of can I attempt this or not was not there, and there was an expectation.
Yeah,
that
I agree
if
with
you
that.
grinded for like 2 weeks straight, that you know, in theory, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree, like, there are people out there that wanted to be part of that race,
Right.
or didn't have the time to do it. And like, I understand where they're coming from, but like, to me, it should be like a special moment.
Yeah.
And like
Like an achievement.
people are mad that, like, if you didn't have 12 hours a day to do this, you were going to be like 5:20 to 5:30.
Yeah.
But I think this the way they did the Last Wish, I think is a fantastic way, because
Yeah.
you should be able to like struggle through it for the first 2-3 weeks, and then as you progressively get higher gear, it should be something that doesn't take like a couple of hours, right? It should be 30-40 minutes. Like, hey, you want to just hop on, do a raid, bang it out, get the gear.
Yep.
I don't know how they would be able to continue to make it hard and not make it impossible when you're 5:30, 5:40.
If they're not going to do, and they're not for this one, prestige raids.
Prestige raids,
That
yeah.
would be the only thing. And I think that the best prestige raid was probably Oryx, because there's a bunch of mechanics that were added to it.
New
that were
mechanics, yeah.
different. And if that's like, because that wasn't really the case with Destiny, like at least with Leviathan and Argos and stuff like that.
I don't know who tweeted it. It was a raid designer at Bungie, but he tweeted saying the hardest part about making a raid is making the first encounter like 20 hours and then every other encounter 30 minutes.
Right.
And I feel like they did a great job with Last Wish.
Yeah, it
with
might
that.
have been Andrew.
What do you mean
Joe.
first encounter?
How do you make the first experience with your raid super long and hard? Because everybody wants a long, hard raid for for the first experience, right? But then after every subsequent experience, you just want the loot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to get it through. So that's the hardest part of creating a raid. And I think the level scaling is how you do it.
Yeah, honestly, I seriously think Bungie just made a mistake with their calculated drop percentages. They thought people would be 550. That's where they thought people would be. They had the messed up engrams, so people were confused about what was going on. Unless you're reading BNet and being really careful about your drops, you didn't get in.
Yeah.
And I think that caused a lot of people saying like, "Oh, they only want streamers to do it." And I don't think that's
intense.
the case at all.
It's
I
intense,
think they'll adjust for it next time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it was bad, but I think the conversation is, how much do they want people to be able to access the raid? Because there's a lot of people, who still have not done it. Like, I texted Fran before the show. I know he hasn't done it yet.
But he's at the level where he could do it.
He could do it.
He
but
just wants to do it blind.
He wants to do it blind. So I
Well,
understand.
that's
wanting
like
the first experience.
Fran's thing though.
Yeah,
like
but-
that's not a game thing.
I think, and absolutely right. I think a lot of people still feel that way. They want that special moment of experience at the first time, figuring it out on their
It's
own.
a super hard balance, because doing a raid blind is a super cool experience.
Yeah, it is.
And the further you wait, or the longer you wait, the less chance you can do it blind.
Yeah.
And I feel for Fran, because I would not want to do the raid not blind.
Yeah.
But like, it's so hard to find a blind raid now.
Yeah, it
like,
is.
and so if you miss that window the first 2 weeks, it's like over. So I understand where Fran's coming from, but I do think because of how intensive they make it, it's that more special.
Special. Unique.
Well, great final topic. I totally agree. I want the raid to be a special experience for everybody. Thank you, Steven.
What an elitist.
the wrap up.
What an elitist.
I was going to say thank you, Steven, CJ Sorta,
Yeah,
for being
okay.
on the show today.
Sounds good.
Derailing the show,
Oh,
confusing
whatever.
Andres.
No, there's no derailing. I get that we need to have topics, but we gotta not be so just switch on a gear.
Fair,
You know?
fair.
Did I
I'm just
pass?
saying.
Can I take Fran's spot now?
You got to do better impressions next time.
Yeah, Steven will be here. Sean would have been here, but he's at TwitchCon doing some producer work. So
Right.
yeah, that's all
So.
that happened. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or check out our playlist of all our episodes if you missed one over on youtube.com/fireteamchat or on IGN.com.
It's probably over my face.
No, it's right here.
Put it over CJ's face.
It's right here.
Exactly.
Perfect. Nailed it.